Hello and welcome everyone to Women's Speakers Association's WSA TV. I'm Laura Rubenstein, your host and producer, and today, as you can see, we have an amazing topic. It's all about resetting and reinventing your life. And I have two experts here today to help us guide us through this process, to give us some really wise tips. And I'm super excited because this is not an easy topic. You know, we want a lot of people going through a lot of stuff, and we want to reset and know how to do it in a very successful way. So let's go say hi to our experts. Hi, Robin.
Hi, Laura. I'm Robin Joy Meyers, and I am a fear strategist, a TEDx speaker, and molecular geneticist. I typically live in the Washington, D.C. area, so that's typically where I'm at, and you can find me at robinjoymeyers.com.
Great to have you, Robin. Thank you. And Sarah, hi.
Hi, Laura. I'm Sarah Ross. I'm based in Oxford in the UK, so across the pond. I am a burnout recovery expert, and you can find me at yourreasontobreathe.com.
Oh, great. Well, between the fierceness and the burnout recovery, we are going to rock this show and talk about resetting ourselves, reinventing our lives. So I would love to know what advice you have for our viewers today. Robin, if you could cover that first about how people can really get through tough times and or get to a place where they, you know, are desiring deep down.
Absolutely. I really do believe that, you know, I'm a fear expert, and as a molecular geneticist, I talk about the science of fear, that fear is real and it's not a choice. And I think we're all brought into this world thinking that, oh, fear just happens to us. But when you understand the science of it, our choice is how we respond. And so it takes a lot of trust in ourselves and self-awareness to realize that we have to learn what our triggers are, our triggers of self-doubt, our triggers on how to move through things, and really learn to trust that fear is good and it serves us. It wakes us up. It's there for a reason, and we need to listen to it. And so as we move through things and we move to the other side of launching ourselves, it doesn't stop the negative talk and all of that sort of stuff in our heads. But what we can do is learn those triggers and reset. And that's just pausing and breathing and really learning who we are. So that's my goal.
And do you have any tip? Okay, so we pause, we breathe, but what is there any other golden nugget people can walk away with to deal with their fear? Because what I heard you say is fear doesn't go away, but we learn to deal with it. So is there another tip you want to give us about dealing with it?
So I always say that living fearlessly isn't without fear. It's actively living in the moment with a real conscious, courageous presence. So one of the things I always tell everyone is record yourself a message on your cell phone, which we live with all the time and we walk around with. Record a message that you are fine right where you are, right here, right now, and you're powerful. And just use that as a quick reset whether it's walking into a meeting or you're getting on a stage or whatever you're doing. You just have to be able to pause for a minute and breathe. And as long as something's not burning down, you can pause and breathe. And
what a brilliant tip. I love that. Thank you so much. I'm going to go record a message on my phone after the show.
Do it.
Right. And Sarah, I know you're a burnout recovery expert. So if people are feeling burnout, it's really hard to reset and reinvent, but I know that's your whole business and your whole expertise. So give us some nuggets. Where can people start to reset?
So burnout, depression, anxiety, fear, and when it gets really bad, those suicidal thoughts that life is not worth living. And for me, I was in that position. And when I kind of realized what was going on, what actually helped was a smile or learning to laugh again. And you realize how long you haven't smiled, or even, as Robin said, taken a deep breath. It's those little things that reset what's happening in your body. So it's really easy to reset all of the happy hormones by smiling, laughing. And yeah, we have our mobile phones with us all the time. So it's not a case of, oh, I need to watch a comedian for 5 minutes. I'll wait till I get home. I'll put the DVD on. You've got it in your pocket. So have a playlist of the people that make you laugh until your sides hurt. Have a photo album of things that as soon as you see those photos, you have a huge smile on your face. And when you are feeling down, when you are feeling negative, then give yourself the gift of actually just going and spending some time with those playlists.
Brilliant. Wow. So the tools and the tips we just got between the two of you today, between smiling, keeping the playlist, and then dealing with your fear and creating your own little comforting message. I mean, so people might think, well, I should just feel good, right? And then they beat themselves up for feeling bad. But what I got out of what you both are training and teaching and how you guide people is you're giving them the way to help them get there. I mean, it's not like a given. It's normal if you have these anxieties. It's normal to have this state of mind where you don't feel that confidence or trust, or you have fear. So this is all perfect. And like Evie is saying on Facebook, she says, the time is right for this message. So thank you, Evie. It's like amazing information. We should all have these skills and tools, and I love that you're bringing them to us. So I'd love to hear more about your expertise. And Robin, maybe you can share with us, who do you work with and what do you do with them?
I work with women, and my clients typically tend to be that, like, I'll say middle age, but I really don't like that term because, I don't know, 40s to 60s or whatever. Women that are in transition, whether it's a job, whether they're empty nesters now, whether they are taking care of their parents, going through divorce, they've come to the conclusion that they've pleased all their life and they've served everyone else all their lives, and it's their turn. And so what are they going to do now? And how to figure that out and prioritize them. And as women, we typically don't do that. We typically want to serve everybody else and we forget about our own self-care. So I work on those transitions, and through science-based strategies and tools, and very similar, actually, Sarah, to what you said, have a playlist, that just, it's all neurobiology. It resets your thinking very quickly. Sing in the car like you're the best singer in the world. It doesn't matter, but, sing out loud that song that just brings you up. But I work with them on tools to reset their mindset, to start putting balance and boundaries into their lives, to ask themselves, what are my non-negotiables? Like, what serves me and what doesn't, and bring that out, and start using your voice. I didn't use my voice for a long time in my life.
So valuable. The training, the tools. It's like the mental muscles we need to grow ourselves and get, and I love that you use the science-based neurobiology to let people know that fear is normal, to let people know that there are tools that we can work with our bodies with. So thank you for the work you do. Do you have a story of how did you come to this?
Sure. I was a typical people pleaser, like many. I was the youngest of three, the only girl, two older brothers. So I lived a very protected life. It was a good life, but protected. But I went through stages of life that I never really realized how it all sequenced. And it's actually at my recent TED Talk that it all came together, because I found a gene, I'm a molecular geneticist, in fruit flies about impeding flight. And I really started to put that into words and realize how it fits together. But I think I went through my life actually in fear of disappointing someone. And my wake-up call really was when I turned 53. When I turned 53, that's the age my mom died. She died at 53 and I was 21. Strangely enough, my daughter was 21 when I turned 53. And we looked at each other like, okay, this is feeling a little surreal. But it was my wake-up call that there's mortality. What am I going to do? Because I realized that never did I put myself first. And I think I was always known as one of my kids' mothers or the room parent or the dog walker. I didn't know who I was. So how could, and it comes down to me and us as individuals to define who we are and what we want. So that was my wake-up call, and to look back and really realize that life sequences together for a reason, and they are chapters, but they do fit together somehow.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing your story. And I feel like we more connect to you now. And Sarah, I wanted to run over to you here and learn more about your expertise in this burnout world and how to recover from it. How do you help people? What do you do? Who do you work with? And how do you help them?
So I work with burnt out executives, business owners, entrepreneurs who have just one thing in their life, and that's their job. Their non-negotiable is their job, their work. They have a better relationship with their laptop or the coffee machine than they do with their family, their kids, their friends, and really help them to reset, recharge, and then thrive by making better lifestyle choices. And the key to most of that is actually putting themselves back on their calendars. So making sure that going to the gym, going out with friends, even just time for themselves is scheduled just as much as meeting, bank, conference, the things that you wouldn't let slip. But everything else, as soon as, I know when I was going through it, there were times I hadn't seen friends for 6 to 12 months because I would continually drop and up, your American phrase, can I take a rain check? It was pretty much my go-to way of living because I was focused so much on my job.
So tell us a little bit more about your story. How did you get into this? And, you mentioned at the beginning a little bit, but can you fill in some blanks for us to inspire us and how you got to this work?
Yeah. So I was the corporate junkie. I chased every pay rise, every promotion, every title. And I never really understood the whole thing around the power of why. Because for me, it was, it's the power of what, right? I want to be this title or have this amount of money. Why didn't mean anything to me. And when I burned out and I left my corporate job with a severance package, I was literally like, well, there is no, why do I need to live? And I actually chose the date on which I was going to end my life. And in the time in between, I worked my bucket list. I went and did all the things that, I had the list. It's like, I also had the money. So let's just go and do this. And then on this date, I will end it. It's done. And very much, what Robin had mentioned, it was the fear of disappointing people. No one knew how bad it was because it was the fear of people knowing you were struggling, which would disappoint them. And that was all my interpretation of things rather than what would actually have happened. And part of that journey was I went to volunteer in Vietnam with disabled children. And for some reason decided that my last Christmas would be dressed as Father Christmas, Santa Claus. And having spent a whole day dressed as Santa Claus, beard, wig, everything, at the end of the day, they told us that one of the orphans was actually dying and wouldn't make it through the night. And we went into the room. I had never seen this little girl before. It was in a different part of the orphanage from where I volunteered. And leant over the crib, she put her hand in my beard and I watched her breathe. And she's 4 years old. She's got a couple of hours left on the earth and she is fighting for every single breath. And there's me in comparison with every opportunity that this little girl would, breathe for. I'm educated, I have a family, I've traveled halfway around the world to be there. And yet I'm thinking of giving up. And it was that light bulb moment of maybe the journey I'm on is to help somebody else, not go on that same journey. So yeah, that's what I woke.
Yeah, and you woke up and you started helping other people, or how did that happen?
So it was really the sort of concept, Albert Einstein says the level of, thinking that caused the problem can't solve it. And for the first time, probably in my life, I had to ask for help. In fact, there was a coach who, 4 months earlier had said he would help me. He didn't know what was going on in my head. But he was the only person I could remember saying would help me. Now, that's not to say if I had asked my parents or my friends, they wouldn't have helped. But I asked him and he said yes. And that started the healing journey for me and finding my reason to breathe, which is now what my business is.
Both of you are heroes. Both of you have come through and now help other people do that which you've done. And it's so inspiring. So thank you for sharing your stories and your tools and your wisdom, from a simple smile to a simple breath to the more, not really involved, but playlists and messages to yourself. there is transformation is possible, is what I'm hearing, even if you don't think so, even if you're not in the place of even considering it. But maybe there's a wake up time for you. And if you breathe into it, it might just happen. So reinventing yourself is something we, both of you, try and do help people with. So please learn more about Robin and Sarah today. We'll have their links in the descriptions here and in the comments for you. And that's what we love about bringing women to the show, is to showcase how you can support people and how people have been supported by you and how you've done your work. So I'd like to hear from both of you about Women Speakers Association and what the value has been coming here and joining us. So Robin, would you like to share first?
Sure, absolutely. For me, it's the support of each other. It's the camaraderie. It's a newfound friendship. And actually, it's almost like I never met Sarah before. And then there's this commonality that, I know we're going to connect because we have to connect. There's things that we do that could benefit could benefit the world. So I would love to connect with her. So it's just this community that's available. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be part of it.
Well, we love that you're here, and thank you for adding to our richness. And Sarah, same to you. So tell us, Sarah, what the value of Women Speakers Association is for you.
I think I agree with Robin. It's the community, and none of us is as smart as all of us. And it's that everybody has something to bring, whether it's experience or their expertise, but to know that there's somewhere you can go and ask that question when something doesn't make sense, or, that you can give the best to your audiences because somebody in the community is guiding you. But there's also that reciprocity where you can actually help somebody else get on bigger stages, or, get their message out, or, go international. If you want to come and stay with me in Oxford, or we'll go to London, it's those opportunities that the Women Speakers Association makes possible for all of us.
And I can vouch for that. I mean, I have friends all over the world because of Women Speakers Association, the community, the connections, the reciprocity, like both of you talked about. So thank you both for joining us here. And if any of you'd like to join us at Women Speakers Association, you want to bring your message to the world, you want to come into our sisterhood, you just want to hang out and get inspired, joinwsa.com is where you can learn more. And we help people bring their messages to the masses out there. And we train you, we give you the resources, you have a community, and there's so much we do, even books and the like. So please join us, and we'll be back again next week. We have a very special episode next week. Speaking of books, we'll talk to you about how you can get published. So until then, have a great week. And thank you, Robin and Sarah. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.